Welcome, guys, to another episode of Rock Chalk Film Room. I'm Shreyas Laddha for the Kansas City Star. I have my co-host Carter Stanley, former KU quarterback. We're talking all things Jason Bean. He put together his best first half I think I've ever seen from him, and really maybe his Kansas career or his college career as a whole against OSU on Saturday. Obviously, tough loss, but he played great for about three quarters, and we're here to look at it. It was an exciting one, Carter.
Yeah, Shreyas, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Bean put up ridiculous numbers, not even through three quarters fully. I mean, there was still 3 or 4 minutes left in the third quarter, and I think he was a couple yards shy of 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. It was lights out, and I think it was awesome, especially considering they started down 14-0 in the blink of an eye. Great way to bounce back. And, I think a number of it in the beginning there was a byproduct of, how well KU's run the ball up until this point of the season. I think they were number 6 in the country in rushing yards per game coming into this. But, we'll get going with this first play. This was empty formation. And, I mean, Shreyas, I think this was maybe probably a byproduct of lining up just quickly with tempo after a nice 9-yard gain. And, it's really hard for the defense to adjust that quickly, especially with all the motions and the formations that this offensive team or Kansas team runs offensively. And, they get a nice 9-yard gain. They get up to the line really quickly, spread everyone out. Oklahoma State, they're trying to identify guys. They just see 2 wide receivers on each side. And, Fairchild here was kind of snuck in with the offensive line. So snap the ball quickly. Great job. Just honestly wide open. And you'll see here this formation, the 2 wide safeties, Fairchild just goes right up the middle. The linebacker for Oklahoma State, he doesn't carry with the seam route. So pretty easy one here by Bean, but it's still tough throwing to a guy that's that wide open. You don't know whether to loft it, put it right on him, but this is just a good job putting it on his face mask and Fairchild taking care of the rest of it.
Yeah, and you talked about tempo. I think it was I don't know if I saw this stat this year or for last year. They were one of the slowest teams in the nation, I think, in you know, like time, tempo, all that. It seems like that's been a big emphasis this year is to throw in some tempo to kind of catch people off guard. I know I've talked to some of the players and they've talked about how they just kind of go, go, go at practice. Have you seen that? Do you feel like they're using a tempo a lot more to kind of showcase, oh, we can do all this, the motion, all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's honestly, I think it's night and day from not only last year, but 2021 when they first started under this staff with Leipold and Kotelnicki. They, really focused on running the ball. I think it's fair to say they had a less talented team in 2021. Overall, just a younger team as well. So I think a perfect example of that is 2021 against Oklahoma. They were just pounding the rock, eating up so much clock like throughout the game. And last year was kind of in between 2021 and this year. And this year they just kind of, for the most part, they kind of do whatever they want because they'll just run the ball really well. And then out of nowhere, usually after a nice run for like a first down or, in this instance, 2nd and 1, it's a good opportunity to take kind of a shot. And that's exactly what they do here. So here's another view at it. You can see Fairchild. He's just attached to the line of scrimmage here. And number 5, the safety, kind of right on this Big 12 logo, he's fully keyed on that slot receiver to the left. So it's pretty much solely up to number 4 here, who, by the way, is a heck of a player. I mean, he seemed to be making plays all day on Saturday. And, this certainly wasn't his brightest moment, but it's on him pretty much to get out wide and cover Fairchild here. And he's fully locked in on Jason Bean, which that's another thing to it. You got to respect Bean as a runner in that situation. So all in all, just a great play right there. All right. So this next play we got Now, Shreyas, what do you think was the focus all week? This is the next drive. I think it's less than 2 minutes after that previous touchdown. We've seen this formation a million times from Kansas. They got two tight ends in. I thought maybe even three, but two tight ends in, pistol formation, 1st and 10. Everyone's thinking run, right?
Oh,
Run
100%.
run to Devin Neal.
Yep.
He's probably going to get 8 yards or something. So Oak State, after seeing us run for 400 yards, they are fully locked in to this run. And if you'll see the safety closest to us, kind of right by that X on the field, that is going to be Jason Bean's read. So he catches the snap. He's going to, make them mesh with Neal. And this is a true RPO, I believe. So if that safety stays back, we're going to hand the ball off, hopefully get 8 yards, exactly what they expect, right? But as you see here, safety crashes down very quickly. Got to respect the run. Another wide open pop play. So honestly, just a great job by offense coordinator dialing this one up and great execution.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought it was really interesting. And I mentioned this before, like he did such a great job of making it look like it was a handoff. I thought initially they were going to hand the ball off, but that obviously fooled me. It was definitely seemed like they fooled OSU right there and the safety right there. And I haven't seen Fairchild that open all season, really. So tremendous, play call by Andy. Right?
Yeah, that's a great call. And I tell you what, Mason can play. Mason might say he goes on to play 10 years in the NFL. I don't know if he'll ever be this wide open again. So pretty awesome. Yeah, like you said, Shreyas, great job by being here, with a true mesh, just sticking the ball in the breadbasket for Neal. Everything about this looks like a run. 5, the safeties screaming down, wide open. And again, you still got to, at the end of the day, you got to put an accurate ball on them. If you guys were watching Monday Night Football last night, I think Justin Herbert had a play where there's a wide open guy, and I think it was Keenan Allen after a great route, and he still missed him. So hopefully that kind of goes to show it's not necessarily easy, but it's just a great job putting the ball on him. All right. So we saw empty formation a few times in this game. I think KU did some great things out of it, and this coverage here by Oklahoma State, it's called mini coverage, and essentially it's kind of cover 4. Everyone's kind of in a cover 4 look, with the exception of the corner closest to us that's guarding the receiver here. He's just strictly 1-on-1. But what you're going to get conceptually out of KU's Mason Fairchild's running a 10-yard curl route. If he's open, great, put it on him. But if that safety bites on that curl, you're going to have a deep post by Quentin Skinner, and we'll see that here. Oklahoma State's only rushing 3, allows Bean some time to throw, delivers a great ball. And, this was first drive of the second half. Unfortunately, our last points of the game, which is just kind of crazy to think about. But, you'll see here, safety is King Fairchild. Like we said, he bites on that curl. Great pass. And that's into the wind. I think Shreyas, what was it? 20 mile per hour winds?
Yeah, it was bad. I remember coming in and I was like, wow, it is more windy than I remembered it being. And honestly, it seemed like it affected the special teams play a little bit with the lower kicks. I mean, I know Seth Keller's typically kick pretty low. But I mean, that entire just play, I was impressed with Bean. He stepped in the pocket. He's confident, even with a 3-man rush. He didn't waste time like he, could have done. And I think, I was really impressed by Quinton's, kind of a little bit of a hesitation move right here.
Yep.
Where he creates some separation, and the DB is just reeling, and by the time he reacts, he's gone.
100%. No, that is a perfect point right there, because you'll see Skinner, his assignment, he's just running a post, but like you said, you see that defensive back with inside leverage, maybe not going to be the path of least resistance to go inside of that DB, kind of okey dokes him, hits him on the outside, and again, great pass by Bean.
100%. I think, just looking at the game, obviously tough loss. They don't score the rest of the time, but you look at it and you feel like it's got to be a good learning experience for arguably one of the biggest games of the year, right? I mean, you hope Jalen is back, but you feel like there's a lot you can take away from this tape if she isn't back. And what worked against OSU, maybe a lot of it will work, or at least some of it will work against OU, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think, win or loss, there's always good things to take out of the film. There's always bad things to take out of the film. And, if you're looking for the bad things offensively, quite frankly, just kind of turn on the fourth quarter. But I mean, if you want to look at the good things, you watch the first three quarters. So it's there's ebbs and flows. And yeah, I think, I think ideally KU should have ran the ball more in the second half. I think after this play, there's north of 26 minutes of game time left, and we only ran the ball 7 times, and one of those was just on a QB scramble by Bean. So, yeah, I think ideally they should have ran the ball a little bit more, but no, there's good and bad things to take from this game for sure.
100%. And I think with that, that's a perfect ending point for this episode. Appreciate you guys tuning in, give us some comments, giving us some love, give us some hate. We get a little bit of everything on this show. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it on my end. Anything to add, Carter?
Yeah, no, Shreyas, appreciate it. And yeah, thank you guys for the feedback, continuous support. Really appreciate it. And, hope you guys are liking this. So let us know what you think of this week's episode, and definitely looking forward to next week.
100%.